There is an untold secret about ISO in photography. Most people think it's just about exposure. It's absolutely not. ISO is how you create impact, mood, and your own unique look. In the next 10 to 20 minutes, I'm going to show you how to make it your creative edge. The kind that leaves everybody mesmerized by your artwork. Let's break ISO down so you understand it and use it to your advantage. The filmmakers do it. Every single filmmaker in Hollywood uses ISO to create this signature look. This is something I have not heard anyone speak about. I'm kind of baffled with it. Why don't we speak about creating a look? Okay guys, let's make ISO a powerful creative tool that makes your images stunning all the time. Too many of us wait for post-processing to figure out the feel and the look of our image. That is a huge mistake. Because if you don't decide your ISO before the shoot, you are gambling with your mood, your detail, and your story. It's easier to understand ISO than you think. Let's get into it. Most of us are taught to keep ISO as low as possible. But I've learned after decades in the field, ISO is one of the most emotional decisions you can make as an artist. It can add grit, softness, drama, nostalgia, all of that in your photograph. The trick is to learn to use it intentionally, not reactively. Today, I'm going to show you how to use ISO to create your own signature. Let's first see what is ISO. Let's see how light turns into a digital image. Let's imagine your camera sensor is like a tray full of buckets, which are called photosites. And there are millions of them on your sensor. The job of these buckets is simply to collect lights. They catch photons, the tiny particles that make up light. Now, since that's out of the way, let's see, how is a photo born? So light enters your camera, light pours through the aperture of your lens, then passes through the shutter of your camera and lands on the sensor. These tiny buckets that I was talking to you about, they catch the light. Each photosite acts like a bucket. It collects photon. The more light it catches, the fuller the bucket gets. Okay, so where does all of this go? How does your sensor store light? It cannot. So what it does, it converts it. Light becomes electricity. When photons, means light, hits the photosite, which means the buckets, they generate an electric charge. And that's an analog signal. It's like water filling the bucket. The more full it is, the brighter the pixel becomes in your image. Once the exposure is done, your camera collects all the voltage from every single bucket and sends it to the analog to digital converter. So the job of the ADC, the analog digital converter, is to basically convert that charge into numbers, zeros and ones. That's your image. That's how it's born. Let's talk about how to determine your signature look. That's what you're here for, right? Alright guys, so the next point, let's see, where does the ISO come in? Here's the twist. Let's say you didn't get enough light. Maybe it was dark, maybe your shutter was too fast. Now, your buckets are only half full. This is where ISO steps in. ISO doesn't pour more light into your buckets. It turns up the volume of the signal that's already there. That electric charge you captured, it amplifies it. Brighter photo, yes. But now you're not just amplifying a signal, you're amplifying noise as well. Just like cranking up the volume of a quiet recording. You make everything louder, including the hiss. So let's just put it in a nutshell really quick. The big picture. Photons hit the sensor, electric charge is made, that charge becomes digital data. And ISO boosts the charge after the light has already done its job. Your camera's analog to digital converter translates that charge into a digital signal. And once you understand that, you'll use it to your advantage. Now you know that if you are going to make your buckets half full or less than half full or 3/4 full, and you are going to amplify it with ISO, then you know what kind of noise you are going to introduce. And that noise can be used to your advantage as your look. Noise is not always bad. Trust me, it's not. I use it all the time. And you should start using it as well as an intentional part of your story, your look, your brand. I have something so exciting in the next few steps because it's going to show you exactly how to create your own look. But first, let's just talk about the mistakes we make because of ISO and let's see how we can fix it. So one of the mistakes we make is choosing low ISO over the right shutter speed. Have you ever captured a perfect moment with timing, expression, with everything in it, only to get home and see that your image is soft in the place you wanted it to be sharp? That usually happens when you sacrifice shutter speed to keep your ISO low. You're in low light. You're scared to push the ISO because of noise. So you slow down your shutter to let in more light. And what happens? You introduce motion blur, camera shake, lost sharpness. Let's fix it. Determine the light conditions you are going to shoot in before you get to set. Know what ISO will give you the look you want. And then move forward knowing what ISO, what shutter speed you're going to shoot at. So this way, it's all done beforehand. You have already seen the image before you can press the shutter button. The look, the feel of it is all accepted by you, the artist. You know what the truth is? Sharpness beats noise every single time. You can fix some grain issues, but you cannot fix a blurry image. So if I have not done my homework and if I have not imagined the look and I'm on set and the conditions are making me change things around and making me want to do slower shutter speed, I will not photograph. I will walk away from it. It's waste of time. So let's flip the thinking. Stop treating ISO like it was made to control exposure. It was not. It is simply to create a look and of course the functionality of it, collecting light and so on. But here is another problem that us photographers do, and then we point the finger at ISO: cropping high ISO images. So here it is. You did everything right. Perfect moment, sharp shot, but your subject too small in the frame. So like many, you just crop it. And now that grain that was acceptable in the full size, it's magnified, exaggerated, and distracting. That's because when you crop high ISO images, you're not just framing tighter, you're zooming into the noise. No software, whatever claim they may have, can bring back the texture, the softness, and the sharpness, the look of the image that you wanted initially. Can it be mathematically right? Yeah. Can it look okay? Yeah, sure. Can it be creatively perfect for you? I don't think so. It's always settling. So do it right from the very get-go. Understand ISO, use it to your advantage. So how do I fix this issue with high ISO? The way I do it is, if I know I'm going to shoot at a high ISO, I get closer. I fill the frame in the camera. Because cropping is not just about composition. It's about preserving signal quality. High ISO stretches your sensor. Cropping stretches it even more. Compose deliberately. Get closer to your subject and protect your pixel. All this rant that you guys have heard about ISO, how it works, and use it to your advantage, and the mistakes that we make. Sorry, I had to explain this to you guys. Let's determine how you can create your own look. Is this point number 5, 4, 5? I'm not sure. I'm sure my editor is going to get mad at me, but I forgot. All right, so this is how I do it. I shoot the same subject in the same light at every ISO that I think I may use at that shoot. I may use 100, I may use 200, I may use 400. My favorite, I may use 640. And that's how I see what is good and what's not good for me. Then I ask myself, what feels right for the subject? What looks like my style? Will I print this? For me, ISO 640 gives me the texture, the emotional look I love. That's my baseline. My camera's manufacturer might say the baseline is 100 or whatever. It doesn't matter to me because the camera manufacturer's job is to create the camera. My job is to create art. I am the artist. I am the creator of my looks, not the camera manufacturer. My look is my look. It doesn't have to be my neighbor's look or the other photographer's look. Their look is different. They can handle things the way they want to. This is my canvas. I want what I want. And what I would like is 640 in a Sony. I am very rigid as a photographer, but I still may need some leeway. And can I live with 400? Can I live with 800? If I can live, good for me. If I cannot live, I walk away. And that is the only way, guys. And I know I've got so many comments. People are saying, hey, Ejaz, you crazy. How can you walk away? You spend so much money. Ask yourself this question. If you go out to buy a car, are you going to come back with a motorcycle? If you're not, then why would you go out to shoot a certain look, a certain mood, but come back with something different? Why would you do that? And I am creating a look. And when I say look, I don't mean the cleanest image. No, I mean the image that feels right to me. The image that carries emotion for me. Your ISO should match your voice. There's no universal ISO. There's only the ISO that fits your style, your mood, your message. Test it, know it, trust it. All right, guys, point number 5 or point number 6. I've lost count and I know I'm going crazy with this, but this is such an important subject. ISO is so misunderstood in the photography community. I absolutely hate it. I'm only 16 years old, right? So when I was shooting at film, I did not change my ISO. Why do people change ISO these days? I don't get it. It's not an exposure thing. It is only to create a look. ISO isn't a backup plan. ISO isn't a rescue setting for dark environments. ISO is a style decision. It's your fingerprint. Imagine changing your fingerprints every single time. What is the audience going to feel about it? What is your client going to think about it? I use ISO 640 even in good light. Not because I need to, because I love the mood, the feeling of 640. I do. And that's just a number. If I picked up another camera, it could be 400. It could be 800. It could be anything. The only way you will know what is your love number is you testing it for the subject, for your artwork. What I chase in 640, it gives me that slight grain. It makes my work feel alive, raw, and emotional for me. So here is what I think you should do to create a look for yourself. Before your next shoot, ask, what mood am I trying to create? Then choose the ISO based on that, not based on the fear of noise. Run a side-by-side test. Does 800 feel better? Does 400 feel better? Does 200 feel like the shot you really want? Does 200 feel too sterile? Does 800 feel too grungy? Ask all these questions. What will your audience want? What will your clients like? What will create your signature? And if you're thinking about all these things, I am so happy because now you're thinking like an artist. You are not thinking just to go and capture something. You're thinking how you're going to go and create something. There's a huge difference between capturing something and creating something. And that, to me, makes the difference between a photographer and an artist. So the next time you're setting up your shoot, don't just ask what the light is going to be. Ask yourself, what do I want my image to feel like? What story am I telling? And how can ISO help me say that louder? ISO is your tool. It's your brushstroke, your creative identity. If this video helps you rethink ISO, leave me a comment. Tell me what ISO number gives you the look you want. And if you want more tutorials that go beyond just settings and normalcy, tutorials that dive into emotions, vision, and what really makes an image connect, please let me know. And by the way, I am going back to Florida to photograph the skimmers. Now that shoot is going to be so challenging because I don't know if you guys know what the bird skimmer is. It's black and it's white and the beak is orange. So where is my gray? Let me know. I'll speak to you guys later. Thank you.